Hey there, and welcome back to the Homemade Haven. My name is Brooke, and today we're going to take you along as we build our garden beds for our future homestead. I do apologize about the way that I'm looking this morning. I've been running around like crazy trying to get us ready to get out the door. If you've been following our journey, then you know that we are currently living in one of our rental properties while we are finishing out the build of our future homestead. We are only a couple days away from being able to move in, and we are so excited. One thing that has been really tough for us is trying to juggle two households at the same time. We've been trying to go over to the land to work on projects to get things going for the homestead so that when we move in, it's not everything all at once. And we're right in the heat of gardening season, so we really want to have our garden boxes ready to go so we can have some production on our land this season. So I'm going to show you what it looks like us trying to get everything together and out the door and over to the land for us to spend several hours over there. So we live about 25 minutes away from the land, and once we're out there, we're about 20 minutes away from restaurants and all of that type of thing. So once we get there, we want to stay there for the day so that we can really get in some working hours. Robert is still working full-time as a real estate agent, so he does have some showings here and there throughout the day that he's going to have to leave for, but I figured that I would go ahead and prep all of our food, snacks, bring everything for the dogs so that the dogs come with us. They won't be trapped here in the townhouse all day, and it's just a lot to think about trying to make sure you have everything to take with you to make the day more productive. So as of right now, I am working on getting all of our meals prepped for the day. I've got breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we don't have any working appliances over there currently. I think our microwave is working. I'm hoping that if not, we can plug it up to an extension cord and make it work so that I can heat up something for lunch. So let me show you what we have so far. So for breakfast, we are just having some store-bought croissants that I have made up some chicken sausage and scrambled eggs and then put some cheese on some of them. I'm going to wrap those up for us to eat on the way. And then for lunch, we have some chicken apple sausages that I'm planning on sticking in the microwave. And we will have some pasta salad to go along with it. This is super easy pasta salad. It's just noodles, cucumbers, tomatoes, olives, and I'm gonna cut up some feta cheese to put in there, and then just pour some good dressing over the top of it, and that is it. And then for dinner, since we'll be gone throughout the day and won't have any time to cook, I want to come home to a nice home cooked meal, so I've got a pot roast in the crock pot. So it's just roast, potatoes, carrots, some herbs, seasonings, and some fats. As you can imagine, trying to plan out fairly healthy, decent meals that are homemade is kind of hard whenever you're trying to pack up so much stuff and take over to another location and then pack it up and bring it all back. So we have been eating out so much, and not only is it costly, but we really hate eating out because the food isn't great. So we are going to try our best to start packing more. I bought a little bit more convenience meals this week at the grocery store. I don't typically buy things like croissants or microwavable items, but I just found the best that I could find, and that's what we're going to use to get us through the next couple days or weeks until we can finally move in and have a working refrigerator and stove and are able to start cooking while we are there. So I'm gonna try and get all of this packed up, get the dogs in the truck, finish grabbing tools that we need for our garden beds, and then we are going to head out there and get to work. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys us getting everything together and getting in the truck and packed up, but forgot to pick up the camera because of the chaos of trying to get everything packed up and in the truck. So
it's basically like going camping every time we have to go out there. The only thing we don't bring is overnight accommodations.
Basically.
Days worth of food, days worth of water, both dogs.
Got the dogs, got the kid. She's got stuff to do with her. Got all the drinks. Down by my feet, I have my purse bag. Got the camera bag. We've got the lunch bag. We've got breakfast, pass around. We have a small Tupperware in the back of the truck with changes of clothes, water bottles, extra tools, dog treats, dog bowl for water. I think that about covers everything, but you can see why it is difficult to record that whole process getting out the door. But we are packed up and we are ready to go and start on these garden boxes. We're excited. So we had to make a quick detour. Do you want to tell the fine people of YouTube what we're doing at Best Buy?
I've got an addiction to raffles. I've been known to win a thing or two. I won a TV in a raffle, and here it is. I'm going to get it right now.
So Robert likes to play in these raffles that his friends do. They have gun raffles and electronic raffles and these types of things. And if you're local and know Robert personally, you know that he has pretty good luck with these things. He's actually won several guns and like an Amazon, what's the TV thing? Fire Stick. And now he's won a 60-inch TV, which 65-inch, sorry. Which works out because we're actually going to have another TV. We only have one TV in our house, and once we move out of the townhouse, we're going to need one to replace that because that will be an Airbnb. So we'll probably just leave our TV there hanging on the wall where it's at, and then take this new one to the new house and hook it up. So kind of worked out. Okay, so we have arrived at the land and we are ready to get started on these garden beds. Quick review of things that we have had going on the past week to prepare for this day. We started off by removing some trees that were in the garden area. You might have seen that on our previous video and how that didn't go exactly according to plan, but thankfully nobody got hurt. Everything was removed just how we needed it to be, and we were able to open up that space like we needed. Then we brought in 4 piles of sand and leveled out the ground to make it a little bit higher than the rest of the ground so that the water would drain really well, and so that everything was good and even so we could have nice level garden boxes once we were ready to put them into place. Once the sand was on the ground, we went through and marked the ground with some spray paint so that we could see exactly where the boxes were going to go and how big of boxes we wanted to put in the area and how many we could fit inside of that area. So our garden area in total is going to be 60 feet long by about 36 feet wide, and we are hoping to fit 14 8 by 4 foot boxes in that area. They'll be about 24 inches deep. The goal is to have them kind of on the perimeter of the length of the garden area, so that way we still have a open middle section so that we can drive in our side-by-side whenever we get one, or make tractor dumps right in the middle for wood chips or soil or however that might look, so that way we're not doing so much shovel and wheelbarrow work in the future. So once we marked out the garden area and saw exactly the size of the boxes that we wanted, the amount of space that we wanted to put between each box, and the layout overall, we were able to make a materials list. We actually got the idea for these boxes watching Hacksman on YouTube. He built these boxes with the title of garden beds for $50 a piece, or less than $50 or something like that. Unfortunately for us, these boxes didn't equal out to about $50 a piece per box, but it was still a lot cheaper than building with complete lumber. As most of you know, the prices of lumber are up way high, ridiculous right now, so buying these sheets of metal really will save us a bunch of money, and they will last hopefully indefinitely, and if not always for garden boxes, we can always reuse them for something else. We decided to go with Douglas fir 4x4 posts for the corners because it is a non-treated wood, so it's a little bit cleaner for your soil, and we like to keep our gardens organic, so it was either that or cedar wood for us, and the price of cedar was astronomical, and after doing some research, the Douglas fir posts will last upwards of 10, 20, 30 years, and it is also insect repellent, so we won't have to worry about termites or ants or any other kind of bug damage on them. So for 14 garden boxes at the dimensions that I gave you, we bought 14 Douglas fir 4x4 posts that are 8 foot long. Each bed will have 1 post per bed cut into 2 feet sections, and then the metal paneling came in 2 feet by 8 feet strips, so each bed will have about 3 of those panels per bed. And then we bought 2x4 pieces of wood to use for like the middle of the boxes for some structure to hold the metal from bending or swaying either way. So as we were on our way home from Lowe's, we were driving down the highway, and luckily Robert had me following him in my car, and we were both on the phone with each other so that we could keep communication with each other, because as we were tightening things down on the trailer, we noticed that a few boards were a little bit loose, and we just weren't sure that they were snug to the trailer. So I followed him kind of closely, and as we're going down the highway, we're just talking, and next thing I know, a sheet of metal catches wind and flies like 30, 40 feet into the air, and then comes falling back down onto the highway. Hey, come here. Thankfully, there weren't any other cars in that lane, because it definitely came down point first and would have probably messed some things up pretty good. But we were able to safely pull over to the side of the road and put our gloves on real quick, run out there and grab the sheet of metal and put back onto the trailer and try to securely fasten it once again. And this time we drove even slower the rest of the way home, and I had my hazards on, and no other casualties in the meantime. But so thankfully everything and everybody made it here all in one piece. We're getting ready to lay out this material, start making cuts to build one box to see what it looks like, and then we will go through all of our material and make pre-cuts so that it makes fabricating each box after a whole lot easier. So let's get started. So there are a few tools that would make this project a lot easier. We tried to use our handsaw to cut our posts for the corners, and though it probably could work, it just eats up the battery so fast on the saw that thankfully my parents are coming out to visit today and are going to bring us a table saw so that we could use that for the rest of the day, and I think it's going to make things a whole lot easier on us. We were trying to measure out on the 4x4s exactly where we needed to cut, draw lines, and then by hand cut the entire length of the 8-foot board, and it was just, it's a little tough. So we're going to take a break from that until they get here with the saw, and for now we're going to go ahead and start cutting down some of the metal panels. We need to cut the 8-foot panels into 4-foot sections for the outside edges of the box. And there's probably a tool that would make this a little bit easier as well, maybe a little disc blade or something, but we have hand snips. So Robert is already adding to his Amazon cart some tools that he would like to build up our workshop with. And
The table saw's already been ordered.
Table saw has already been ordered. So, but that's how you do. You learn, you use what you have, and if there are tools that would make things a lot more efficient that you can use more than one project, then it's worth the investment. So we've invested.
You're welcome.
Are you on that? Yeah, it looks like it's starting to rain on us. I'm gonna come right in here out of the
The cavalry has arrived. We have the table saw, and looks like things are going to be a whole lot easier. Ish. Let's try it out and see. So the saw is tripping the breaker. So, my parents showed up, my mom and my other dad, with the table saw, and as you saw, we tried to plug it into the garage and into the workshop, and it kept flipping the GFI switches, and apparently the saw cannot be ran on a GFI circuit. So we tried to plug it inside to see if that would help, still didn't help, and so we resorted to calling my first dad, and he came out with his circular saw, which is electric, plugs into the wall. So it's a lot tougher than our battery operated handsaw. So he came to the rescue and helped us rip down a few of these boards, and we were able to put things together to form our first box. So now we are able to take these 4x4s and go ahead and make all the cuts. Tonight the sun is going down really quick, so we want to just go ahead and get the 4x4s cut, and then tomorrow when we come back out we're going to bring our chop saw to make the length cuts a lot quicker and more expedited. So
I think that now that we have a system, like the first box, even if we had all the tools, the proper tools the first time around, it probably took us twice as long to build that one as it will the next ones.
just figuring it out, making sure measurements are good and things line up properly.
Even though we had a plan to go off of, but other Hackman's YouTube channel, we modified it slightly to fit
the materials we have
and what we think is going to work long term.
Yeah.
And once we get a few of them built, we'll give you a kind of walk around of what we did, how it might be different than what would. Well,
and what you did in his video. And yeah.
So,
yeah.
Let's get to work.
Okay.
Let's do it.
And also a shout out to our neighbors across the street. If you're watching, thank you so much for coming in clutch with the extension cord. We did not bring one with us today, and there was not one here at the house with all of the construction that's going on. So I sent them a message, and they brought us one across the street, and has made this job so much easier. So thank you to the parents, to the neighbors, and to our whole tribe. It really does take a village to make things work, and we are thankful for all of you. So in order to save time and maximize our efficiency, since we are using the hand saw rather than a table saw, we're going ahead and making all of our cuts that are the same depth and width at the same time, rather than switching the settings on the saw for each board. So we're going through and making the same cuts, setting it to the side, and going through all of the 4x4 posts to do the same thing. And then we're going to go back and reset the saw for the next cut, and then cut them all down that way, so we're not switching settings on every single board and just wasting a lot of time.
It's 5, 6, 7. We're halfway done.
Oh,
Ish.
so we are wrapped up for this evening. The sun has gone down, and we're pretty tired and hungry, and tomorrow is Easter Sunday, so we've got to get home and wash up and get ready for bed. But for tonight,
We made one cut on 14 boards. Actually, we made 2 cuts on 14 boards, so we made 28 cuts.
yeah, we made
It's a start.
the measured cut for all the boards, and then tomorrow we'll come back and reset the saw and do the rest of the cuts to finish notching out the 4x4 posts.
Right.
So
Yep, so we've got like 4 more weeks of this project, and then we'll be halfway done.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine.
It's actually, once we get these posts notched out, the rest of it will go real quick.
Yeah. Once we have everything cut to size, it really won't take long to put them together.
No, and I'd say if you're building one of these, it would probably take you about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
If you knew what if you had your system down, it'd take about 30 minutes to build the bed from start to finish.
Yep. Not too long.
Not long at all.
So we're gonna clean up. We've got sawdust everywhere. We need to move some things around and put some things away. And we will catch up with you guys tomorrow whenever we finish these beds up.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.